Welcome to another exciting episode of the Luminary Panel, the entrepreneurial podcast where we fuel minds with insights and inspirations. My name is Liliana Fidua, and I'm so excited to introduce Brande Dils, a standout expert in the promotional products industry. With a graphic designs background, Brande has crafted unique solutions for impressive companies, including Disney, Tupperware, and Darden restaurants. Known for her innovative approach and client-centered focus, Brande has consistently delivered impactful results. Join us today on the Luminary Panel as we dive into Brande's journey and insights into the world of promotional products on today's episode.
At the Luminary Panel, our mission is to become an immediate resource to you as the aspiring entrepreneur. With that being said, we've partnered with SCG, Shamaa Consultant Group, the business development one-stop shop. They have everything you need as far as marketing, benchmarking, and so much more, so that we, as the Luminary Panel and SCG, can help you thrive in your business.
Another episode of the Luminary Panel. I have somebody special. The reason why she's special is because of this magazine. Look at her. Doesn't she look good?
I think Duke took the cover over, not me.
Who?
Duke, my dog.
Aww. So this is, please introduce yourself and let's go from there.
I am Brande Dils. I am the owner of Winter Park City Magazine, as well as a branding and marketing expert.
Really? How long have you been in Orlando?
Oh my gosh, I've been in Orlando since 1997, but let's not date myself.
97?
I was like 2. No, I wasn't, but we'll pretend.
We're going to say it's 2. Okay? So she looked good for her age, right? So let's talk about before 1997.
Okay.
Before Orlando, where were you at? How'd you end up in Orlando?
I grew up in Michigan. My dad was a college professor and chairman of the music department at Saginaw Valley State University in Michigan. I graduated high school in 1994.
Nice.
And just always wanted to move to Orlando. My mom used to bring me down here for Disney, and I was one of those kids that was raised by Disney once a year, and so I wanted to move here. And so right before I turned 21, I decided to move to Orlando with my high school sweetheart.
We're going to talk about the sweetheart guy.
Well, you know, that lasted like 6 months after we moved to Orlando, so we can pass on that one.
Okay, we will. So that means that you made a footprint in Orlando fairly quickly for you to get to this point to own Winter Park Magazine.
I mean, yeah, I've been in Orlando now for, 20 years, basically a little bit more than 20, so I'm way more Floridian than I am Michigan at this point.
Yeah.
I've only been back to Michigan like twice since I moved down here.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome because, so I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri, and I just add that to my story because it sounds like I'm more interesting than I'm just from Florida or I'm from, you know what I mean? Right? That's so cool. So you moved here in 97. Did you go to college here or you?
No, I got my graphic design degree from Kellogg College in Battle Creek, Michigan.
Okay. And then from there, how did you come across this?
Oh, good God. All right, we'll make it short. How's that?
Let's make it long. We got enough time.
So I got my graphic design degree. I was always an entrepreneur. I started my entrepreneurial life when I was about 11 years old.
Nice.
And my first run at being an entrepreneur was back in the 80s. It was really a thing to have pen pals.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually had a pen pal newsletter, so we could call it a magazine, even though it really was small.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I moved down here, I wanted to work at Disney for a while. I did that for a little bit, realized that my future there wasn't as bright as what other things could bring me to. So I ended up getting into sales. I sold gift and home decor product wholesale to small stores, to Disney, stores on, for anybody that lives in Orlando, 192 International Drive, all of the souvenir stores. And that got me into the sales process, and for me to learn sales, ended up in promotional products and swag and branding for most of my career. The magazine landed in my lap about a year ago, and it was an opportunity for me to start my own business and never have to work for the man again. And so here I am. Now I own a magazine in Winter Park.
What was that moment like when you acquired the magazine for your own? Did that take you back to your childhood?
A little bit. It was a little bit of time before I realized, oh my gosh, like I was basically in publishing when I was 11 years old. But, you know, the magazine came into my life at the right time. I had just gotten married for the first time in my life. I was a late bloomer.
Nice.
And it allowed me to now pursue something that was kind of my dream of owning my own business. I've had businesses throughout the years, but this was my opportunity to have something that was my own for quote unquote life, you know, like this is going to be my baby.
What do you think changed mentally for you from, obviously you've always been an entrepreneur at heart, but not for yourself just yet. What was the difference between then and when you acquired the magazine to work for yourself?
I was a single mom. So
Wow.
My son was 2 when I decided to leave his father. I had never been married before, and I raised him pretty much, although I had some emotional support from his dad. Financially, it was pretty much on me.
Yeah.
And so my decisions in my career were always made based on what I needed to do to make sure that he had everything he needed.
Yeah.
And it just, you know, put me into a position where I was always working for somebody. I was always straight commission, so I could make my own destiny.
Yeah.
I never really took a salaried position from 2004 through now. I've always worked on commission.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I always made those decisions based on the fact that my son was of age of growing up, and Boy Scouts and camps and all the PlayStations and all the computer technology that he needed. So at this point in my career, it was like, okay, now it's kind of about me.
Yeah.
You know, so it was that point in my life where I could say, now I can do this because I have support from my husband, and thankfully he has a corporate life, so he loves his corporate life, and you know, that provides us all the great corporate benefits you get, but it allows me to do what I need to do to grow my own business and my own legacy, so to speak.
That's awesome. I love that, and I commend you for your strength, your resiliency, your passion to just show up for your son and the people around you, and congratulations on being married for the first time. That's a big deal.
Jury's still out on that one. No, I'm just kidding. I love him to death.
That's funny. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about, if you don't mind.
Of course.
If we talk about more about you being a single mom and building something so significant like this. There's so many young women in similar situations of either being a single mom or being raised by a single mom. What would your advice be for the aspiring entrepreneur that may see that as a vice for them not to pursue their dreams?
Well, I think we get stuck in the paycheck world, right? You get comfortable with this, you know, paycheck that just shows up every 2 weeks because you do whatever somebody asks you to do. But at the end of the day, are you bringing that joy and happiness home with you, that you love getting that paycheck? Like my husband, for example, he loves his corporate paycheck. He's that type of person. But if you're an entrepreneur and you want to pursue your dreams, then you have to take the chance. You have to take the risk. So before I owned Winter Park City Magazine, I actually started a company called Four Tails Only back in 2013, and it was a party plan style channel to promote pet products.
Wow.
So you can kind of think of it as Tupperware for dogs.
Nice.
So it was all organic pet products. I launched it while I still had a full-time job, while I was still toting promotional products. It went bigger than what I thought it was going to do. And so I went from somebody telling me, oh, it's just going to be a little side thing for you, and to $1 million in sales in a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a
Congrats.
little scary, thank you. But I ended up selling it to a bigger outfit. At that time, I wasn't ready. Like, I wasn't ready for something to be that big I didn't have my acumen of business, and this was all something this was 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
So you can build something cohesively while you're doing the full-time quote unquote life, but at some point you just have to rip the Band-Aid off and just say, you know what, I'm just going to do it. It's just like when my company took me from having a salary to commission only. I cried. I didn't know how I was going to make it. And then I just put my big girl panties on and I said, you know what, we got to do this. We got to make this happen. And I survived, and I was on commission. I mean, some days I mean, my biggest check was like $25,000, I think, one month. So once you get to that point where you just say, you know what, I have to do this. Like, this is still going to be the better route for me at being a single mom. Then you just have to take the chance and figure out a way to make it work.
What was your rip the Band-Aid moment?
When I took this position with the previous company I was with in swag for 15, 16 years, I had taken a salary with them. And when they came to me about a year into it, it was 2008 when the market was crashing. People weren't ordering swag. They weren't paying attention to that. I mean, that was in the heyday of the housing crash and all of that. And they came to me and said they couldn't pay me a salary anymore. And I just knew I had to figure out a way to make it work. And so I just worked harder.
That's awesome. So now let's kind of pivot to when you got married, right? Again, it goes back to people having similar situations where they're either in a relationship where they find either the perfect spouse or a partner, in a sense where they're super supportive, super go for it, I'm there behind you. How was that when you decided, like, hey babe, I'm about to go full on entrepreneurship with this magazine? Like, were you nervous in the beginning? Like, how was that for you?
Well, see, we got married on October 23rd, 2022, and I got fired from a position that I was working on November 1st.
No way.
So 7 days after I got married, I had to call my husband, who was on travel. He was overseas, and I had to be like, so by the way, I got fired for the first time in my life. This is awesome. So he knew of my entrepreneurial spirit. He knew that I wanted to be a business owner and all of those things. And frankly, the position I was in just wasn't a good fit for me. I was sitting behind a desk 24/7, which is just not my thing.
Yeah, I definitely don't see that.
No. So it just got to a point where he knew. I looked at a couple of businesses before the magazine, and the question that he always asked me was, would you spend family money on this business? And the answer to one or two of them was I don't know if we should do that. And then when the magazine came into my life, they actually found me on LinkedIn, and so they asked me if I would jump on a call, how do these things, tell me about the magazine, whatever. And I actually went into it thinking I was going to open a different market. I live in Lake Nona. I wanted to maybe open a market in Lake Nona, and they said, well, Winter Park is available. And so, my husband again was like, is this this is what you want to do? And I said, yes, this is what I want to do. So I signed, sealed, and delivered. But for people, when you are going down that road and you're dating and everything else, you do have to tell a significant other that you are, an entrepreneur. You have these goals in mind, because you have to find somebody who supports those goals.
Yeah.
You have to.
Shout out to one of our sponsors, Co Space and Clubhouse. As you guys know, we did the Luminary Panel Season 1 on Zoom, and so we were looking for a podcast studio to film. And now here I am in Co Space and Clubhouse, and here they have multiple rooms, one being the lounge, a conference room, and a podcast studio. They serve many different beverages, including tea, coffee, and kava. And their main mission is to be a place where people can come together and work together. So if you can, stop by. It's right outside of downtown Orlando, and it's a great place to work and meet others. Hope you try it.
I mean, you're off the market already. But for me, I'm still on the market. For me, it's difficult to help the person that I'm pursuing understand that this is not like a normal life. Like,
Right.
this is something that you have to be like fully committed to just as much as I am, because you're not going to get as much time as you want. You're not going to get the vacations that often. You're not going to be able to get the all day, every day, constant communication. It's a lot of work on the partner. So, and what would you say to the person that's in that scenario? Like, when does it allow you to come to grips that it's either one or the other, or for the partner, is it one or the other, or you just have to step away?
I mean, I think with me, I got lucky because I found someone who's also a business development person. So
Yeah.
he's a sales guy,
Yeah.
and so he understands the long work hours when it comes to, finishing a proposal or,
Mhm.
Doing a presentation or whatever. I think that it can be very difficult when you have someone who has like the standard 9 to 5 type of schedule, and then
Yeah.
you throw a business owner schedule into it, and they want more time with you, or you're not giving them enough time. And so it really is finding that independence, where you can be independent, the other person can be independent, but at the same time, when you come together, you make a really amazing team. And I feel like that's kind of where we're at. Like, he can talk to me about his work life. I talk to him about mine, our challenges, our wins, our successes. We spend a lot of time talking about work. Whereas I see, some of my other, friends and stuff that have been in an entrepreneurial business, like, they don't share those things at home. Like, you have to be excited about sharing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if that person is a corporate or loves that life, whereas you like the independent life and what you are doing now and building your business. It's about having a mutual understanding that, when you're out doing a networking event at night, like, you're out doing a networking event, that's work. It's not because you want to go out and have a couple drinks. It's because you're working. And I think that's the tone that you have to set as an entrepreneur looking or being on the market for finding the right partner.
That's awesome advice. So anybody that's single, make sure you find the right person that can listen to your boo-hoo cries and your failures.
That's right. I mean, he's had to listen to me cry in the corner a couple of times too and lift me up. So
that's awesome. So I want to ask about this journey of when the magazine came into place, right? What was it like when I asked this question? Have you experienced failure yet?
so many times over.
What was that like? And what got you through it?
I guess I can't really call it an absolute failure, but when I first took over the magazine, it was what I would call a product that wasn't doing very well. The previous publisher had started the magazine and he got it to a certain point, and then he couldn't get it past that point. So it was very much at a crossroads. Like, you're either going to make it or you're going to break it. And so I came into the market, now I'm out there saying, hey, I'm new, here's a new shiny object, and people are going, do we trust her? Is this magazine going to be around in 6 months? Is it providing me value as an advertiser? Are people getting something out of the magazine, whether it's the community reading it or whether it's advertisers actually doing business because of the magazine? Those were all things that were kind of left in the crossroads or crosshairs, whatever you want to call it. And so for me, I had to step in, make some tough decisions. I had to not print an October magazine of last year. So if you go back through and you look at our previous magazines, my first real issue of me coming forward as far as what my magazine looked like and how I brought my own creativity to it was November.
Wow.
Of last year. So I'm right at like the 1 year mark.
Wow.
But I would say that in the beginning it felt like I was failing because I was still having to rebuild a reputation.
Yeah.
And in our community, Winter Park is a very tough market when it comes to reputation, because it's a very close-knit market where people know and see each other on a regular basis, and I was kind of the new kid in town, so that's that's what it felt like at that time. But I don't feel like I'm there anymore, where I'm the new kid in town. So
I feel like you're there.
Yeah, I feel like people are starting to know who I am.
That's awesome. I commend you for that, because I was in a similar situation. Like when I was building the Luminary Panel, I didn't know anybody. I just had an idea, and I pitched it as passionately, as hard as I could at every networking event. People started to say, hey, I'd love to be a part of it. Built the first season. We're only up to like 12 episodes, but I wanted strategic people on it that can bring the most value possible.
Yeah.
And from there, we met Iman. He allowed us to use the space, and everything was starting to grow just because of like, okay, everybody don't know me, so that means somebody has to know me.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to, similar to you, I had to go out there and say, hey, this is what I got, this and that, my shiny object. What was your plan to go from where the guy left it to where it is now? Because you got some big stuff happening.
Yeah, I do have some big stuff happening. I can't say that I really had a plan. City Lifestyle is the franchise brand that owns the brand of the magazine and what we are and all of that. So they help me curate the look and feel of the magazine. They help me with the advertising contracts and stuff. So it's really about me lifting the brand up in the area that we live in. I think that the shift for me and how I am is I'm a huge believer in collaboration. I really just think that there is so much business in the world that you do not have to compete with anyone.
Yeah.
There is multiple products in Winter Park that cover magazine style print, which isn't dead yet, even though people think like, ooh, print is dying. It's really not. It's actually making a comeback. But I do have there are other products, and we may be competing with the same, say, advertising dollar, but when it comes down to the actual product itself, it's completely unique to the next person. And I really think that when you collaborate and you bring people together, that's when you win.
I like that a lot. That's exactly, we have a lot of alignment.
We do, right?
You know what's funny? This is our first time actually sit down and talk.
Yeah?
Yeah, anyway.
Isn't it great when things work like that?
It just happens, right? Yeah. At the right time. Literally, we built the business off of collaboration. Collaboration was key for us. For me, at least, I knew like, okay, he know people that I don't know. If I'm cool with him, he'll introduce me to them. He got more business than me, but if I get cool with him, he'll allow me to open the doors and allow me to get the introduction, right?
Yeah.
I believed in myself, similar to you. I believed in myself more than them believing in me. That makes sense.
Yeah, that does.
All I needed was the opportunity. All I needed was the go ahead, or just the smidget, the mustard seed of, all right, let's do it. And I was like, all right, boom, let's go. Right?
Rip the Band-Aid off.
Rip
you gotta
the
go.
Band-Aid off.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, now I know that me and Brande got a lot of alignment.
Are we switching? Am I the podcaster now and you are the podcastee?
You can. Hey, listen, I'm always open. Listen, we need more hosts anyway. No, that's awesome. I'm so happy for your success, especially like, I didn't even know it was only a year.
Yeah.
That's crazy, because I've always thought it was like something that you've been doing for at least 3 to 5 years, but you guys, you and your team have done an incredible job curating something so tangible to make people feel so special.
Well, and I really like the community aspect. I mean, honestly, I love my advertisers, and clearly advertising dollars is what keeps a magazine print and going and all of that.
Yeah.
But more importantly, I really love telling people's stories, and you know, we've curated such a good collection. City Lifestyle gives me a theme to follow every single month.
Nice.
So, for example, this one here with the dog on the cover is our kids and pets issue. So I got to cover, you know, one of my favorite things, which is my dogs. But when it comes to telling stories, especially I love nonprofit stories. Our first issue out in November last year was a collection of nonprofit executives on the cover. We told each one of their individual stories within the pages of the magazine, but because of that story, one of the nonprofits actually got a phone call from somebody that needed help that had never gotten help for that issue before.
Wow.
That was like this driving force for me to just go, like, how do I help more people? How do I get the, you know, the fact that there are these really amazing organizations out there to help individuals, but you only hear about a select few because they might be a little bit bigger, they might make a little bit more money.
Yeah.
So it's been a passion project of mine to cover nonprofits along the way as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What do you what do you think storytelling stemmed from, in your perspective?
You know, I don't think that we take enough time to hear people's stories.
Wow.
I really just don't. I think that we're always in this constant movement of Instagram and, you know, social media, Facebook, whatever, whichever platform is your platform of choice. We don't take enough time to get to know the heart of business owners and of people, especially in the nonprofit space. I think founders of nonprofits, they have a gift that they are literally giving up their life for saving, you know, children with cancer or kids with dyslexia or whatever their passion project is. And to me, I have a lot of respect for people who can live that, but there's stories behind every one of us.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know that's a big marketing push right now, so to speak, telling your brand story, but go beyond that. Like, it's your story. It's your story as to how that brand started. You know, I think there's a lot of passion that we all have as entrepreneurs, and you know, it just takes getting an idea out there of who you are as a person that could connect you with somebody who could change your life. You know, I mean, I hate to say 2 degrees of separation, Orlando, biggest small town ever. I'm sure you've heard many people say that.
Yeah.
You know, everyone knows somebody who's connected to somebody, and you know, the power of networking and the power and the strength of just working with the people that you already know can just be so powerful in business.
Yeah, I agree. Goes back to our point saying collaboration is the easiest way to grow in business, especially in Orlando. I can only imagine just the big cities like Dallas or Tampa, like it's
Atlanta.
So you can corner a market so easy if you know how to network properly.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to just give out their business card rather than actually building a relationship.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
go to coffee with somebody and don't ask for their business card. Don't talk about what they do for a living.
Exactly. A lot of people think it's so hard. It's not hard. Just have a regular conversation. Like, oh, I like your shoes. Where'd you get them from? And then boom, it's a conversation.
Yeah. It's amazing. I've always kind of had that you never know who you're going to meet mentality, and it has taken me like into some interesting situations that I'm like blown away by the way that you can put the power of connection together.
Right. Okay. Let's pivot again.
Uh-oh.
What is your 3-year goal for this magazine?
One, to get bigger. You know, other properties that have been out there for 3 years are more in about twice the size of mine. So doubling in size would be great. To know if I double in size that I'm also helping all of those businesses grow and watching them grow. That's a lot of stories to tell, a lot of nonprofits to work with, but at the same time, I kind of have an agency mentality in the fact that I can help people because of my strategy and the way my mind works. So to also be growing my entire, marketing brand, I guess, so to speak, would be important to me. as well as just having fun doing it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want a job. I don't want to feel like I never feel when I get up in the morning like I'm going to work.
Yeah.
You know, and so if that can still be the same feeling I have 3 years from now, and I want to own a beach condo in New Smyrna, so I'm gonna put that out there right now.
Little pin drop. You're gonna throw that in there like that?
That's my personal goal. Is
Okay.
I want an oceanfront condo in a beach town that's close by.
Is there someone that you would want to work with, as like someone that could cover the? Is there like an ideal
Ooh.
star? I guess I could say, like, who would your ideal star be for a cover?
You know, I don't know if there's anyone that I can think of, like, in, you know, Orlando that I would like to talk. I really want to cover as many just cool people as I can get my hands on.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many great people just around me, and the energy and the vibration, you know, if you believe in that type of thing, that I just feel like people are put in front of me at the right time, and it just works. So, you know, my nonprofit issue is coming up in November again. We're going to cover some really great executives. I'm going to keep that going as something I do on a yearly basis. But other than that, it's really just, you know, how many people can I help, and how quickly can I do that?
That's awesome. I'm so happy for you. Like, I can tell how, like, excited you are about it, and everybody, if they want to admit it or not, they know that Brande, how do you say your last name? Dils is not the new kid anymore in town. Okay, so we always end the podcast with a question that's surrounded about growth, and because our mission is to connect the aspiring entrepreneur to the inspiring entrepreneur story. Same thing we mentioned earlier,
Yep.
right? But in the inverse, us as a company, we want to continuously grow and learn from inspiring entrepreneurs. So we got big goals. I always say this, like, we're going to have a Netflix series. We're going to have,
I love it.
we'll be traveling the country. We want to have some type of collaboration or anything like that that's going to help us be, like, mainstream. That being said, what are some of the things that we need to focus on so that we can attract and attain those goals?
So free advice. You're looking for free advice?
Basically.
I gotcha. Branding is so important. And when you talk about branding, it's not just about a logo. It is literally about everything that you do is your brand when you're an entrepreneur. So the way you carry yourself, the way you act when you're out, whether it's at 2 o'clock in the morning downtown Orlando, or whether you're in a business meeting at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You are a product, and people see who you are as a person. So if you're accepting of people, you're nice to them, you build your brand the way that you need to be, then I think success is quote unquote easy.
Yeah.
You know, but I think a lot of people get, including myself, I've gotten screwed on shiny object syndrome, or where you feel like, oh, somebody just told you all this great stuff and this is the path that I should follow, when you still have to understand where your heart is and what drives you. And it's hard to stay focused on the goal. I'm really bad about it as well. But keeping your brand and who you are as a person, and carrying yourself professionally all the time. You know, it doesn't mean you can't let loose and have a good time, but you know, you don't want to be somebody who creates a reputation because you did something that was stupid, or you talked about somebody and it got back to them, or whatever. It's just integrity. It's having integrity and managing your brand well, to where people see it and know it, and they feel you when they see your brand. You
That's
know.
awesome. Thank you so much for that advice. Seriously.
Of course.
Where can I find you on social media?
On social media, I'm on Instagram. I'm Brande_Brown_Dils, because I used to be Brande Brown, and people still know me as that. You can follow the magazine at Winter Park City Magazine, and I'm on LinkedIn too as Brande Dils.
Thank you so much for being
Thank
a
you.
part of another amazing episode. Thank you for sharing about your past and where you are now, what you're looking for in the future. I'll be a part of some of the stuff, so I'm excited about it. And make sure you guys follow us and subscribe on everything that to subscribe on. This is Brande Dils. My name is Chauncey Jennings, and we are out.
As we wrap up another inspiring episode of the Luminary Panel, we want to extend our deepest thanks to Brande Dils for sharing her remarkable journey and expertise with us today. Brande's innovative approach to the promotional products industry, her work with top-tier clients, and her dedication to balancing professional and personal life have provided us with invaluable insights. Be sure to follow us on social media at The Luminary Panel to stay updated on upcoming episodes and more enlightening conversations. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with friends and colleagues who could benefit from Brande's experience. Your support helps us continue to bring empowering discussions with leaders like Brande Dils to the Luminary Panel.